Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump and today I'll be ranking all of these Smash Bros. DLC characters from worst to best. Now, with Smash Bros. Ultimate, with the DLC, I feel like all the characters that were brought in for both waves were, I think, quite interesting choices because the characters that were introduced were from probably well-known are from basically well-known gaming franchises, and I would say that there's probably a couple of characters that were introduced in this pack, or in both packs, that had people going to play their games, whether it's Joker for Persona 5 or the Persona series in general, or for Pyra Mytha for Xenoblade 2 or the other Xenoblade games, Hero for the Dragon Quest, I believe, and so on and so forth. And today I'll be ranking all of them from my least favourite to my favourite. So for number 11, being my worst, is Hero. Now, Hero is from the Dragon Quest series of games, and I think, because with Hero is probably my least played character from both waves, and yeah, and it's not that because of Hero as a character or whatever. I feel like it's mainly because I don't have that much of a huge connection with the Dragon Quest series, because I've heard of it, it's just that I haven't really played as much of Dragon Quest as I have, and I might play it, it looks kind of interesting, but for Hero, I feel like it's one of those characters that, like, the character's cool, I guess. It has some fun there. I do like the whole moveset that Hero has, the Reflect spell. I think the Clang spell. I don't know how to remember all the names of the moves, but I do like the names of those moves, and I do like how each of the character designs are from different Dragon Quest games, so I think that's quite cool. For number 10 is Terry. Now, Terry is from the King of Fighters game, I believe, and again, like Hero, Terry is one of those characters that I haven't played as much, and yeah, I do like some of the moves Terry has. It's just he's not my. I would say he's probably, again, one of my characters that I played from both waves that I haven't played as much, mainly because I think I'm quite used to playing as Ryu. And Terry, he's interesting. I do like his stage, the King of the Fighters stage, where it's basically just this arena area, and both edges of the arena are blocked off by invisible walls. Or breakable walls, or invisible breakable walls. It's one of those things. And I do like how in that stage, depending on how much the percentage a particular character has, they can just go straight through those invisible breakable walls. But overall, Terry, I would say, is it just comes to I haven't played with him as much in the game, so yeah. This is just one of those things. For number 9 is Banjo and Kazooie. Now, with Banjo and Kazooie, I do enjoy playing as them. I think that it's an interesting tag team, I would say. You don't really see characters, or multiple characters, kind of teaming up as one character. The only other character I know that does this is Rosalina and Luma, where they're kind of a co-op kind of thing, so you kind of really have one without the other, and it's kind of like that with Banjo and Kazooie. Like, I do enjoy the how both characters can use different moves, like the whole thing with Banjo using Kazooie as a gun or a launcher, or a grenade launcher, I believe, or Kazooie just rushing across the stage at like 1,000,000 miles per hour and just hitting anyone that gets in their way. And yeah, I think Banjo-Kazooie has a lot of cool elements, and I do enjoy this stage. I think I do remember 100% remember the name of the stage, but I do like how it kind of turns every so often. I think that's a really cool part of the stage. But overall, Banjo-Kazooie is fine. I feel like I don't know. I just think they're cool, interesting. Maybe I don't know. That's how I feel about the characters. For number 8 is Byleth. Now, Byleth is the most recent Fire Emblem character to be brought into Smash Bros. And yeah, I do see the backlash between Byleth, because for anyone who might not have known, when Byleth was revealed, a lot of people complained that this was the 100th. I know there's not 100 Fire Emblem characters, but like it was like, oh, this is the 100th Fire Emblem character in Smash Bros. And there's like, yeah, you can see that Fire Emblem does have a huge amount of characters in their game, or in the game, and Byleth, I think, kind of fueled that fire a bit, like, oh, this is like the 100th Fire Emblem character. And even though I know that Byleth isn't the 100th Fire Emblem character, I think like that's what a lot of people felt like it was. But overall for Byleth, in terms of for Byleth, for them, I feel like it's cool to see them in the game. I do like how they can use all 4 of the different heroes' relics. So like the Sword of the Creator, the bow. I forgot the other names of the heroes' relics, but it's like the bow, the lance thing, the bow and arrow, I think, and then the Sword of the Creator. And yeah, I think Byleth with them, it's nice. I do enjoy how you can switch between male Byleth and female Byleth, and I also do like how for some of the skins they represent some of the different characters in the game. For instance, I think female Byleth has a skin for Edelgard, and male Byleth has a skin for both Dimitri and Claude, which I think is quite cool. And then both Byleths have their, I would say, awakened hairstyle, where they have the green hairstyle, I would think. And yeah, I would say Byleth is a very interesting character. For number 7 is Kazuya. Now Kazuya, I would say is kind of fun to play as, because I do enjoy a lot of the moves that he has, because I think from what Sakurai said, he has the most amount of moves in the game. And yeah, you can clearly see that with his character and how you play as him, because he has like so many combos you can do. Like you can fire his lasers, you can then, or you could like go into like you can have a character. Basically, it's a very combo character. You can basically pull off a lot of combos. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I would say his design, it feels quite menacing, I would say, because his human form is your stereotypical muscle fighter. Think of some of the characters from Street Fighter. It's kind of like that. But Kazuya isn't from the Street Fighter games. And then his demon form is very, very demonic. Well, not extremely demonic, or very, very. I think it's intimidating because of how it's designed. Because I think Kazuya is either a demon or part demon. Is one of those things, because he's got like a demon gene or something, from what I remember. And I do like how we can just do a lot of combos and stuff. And yeah, and for a stage, I do enjoy it. And it kind of reminds me of the King of Fighters stage that Terry has, where you have these 2 breakable walls, and depending on how much damage you do to a character, they can just go flying out. And they do rebuild afterwards, after a few minutes or so. And yeah, overall Kazuya is somewhat interesting, and I do like how much combos he has in the game. For number 6 is Min Min. Now, Min Min is one of those characters that is, I would say, at first glance, if you're playing Min Min for the first time, is kind of hard to, I would say, pick up. or trying to start first, or it's like because Min Min is from the Arms game. I think Arms 1 and 2. I think it's an Arms 2. I could be wrong. And basically, Min Min has, you know, 2 arms which can extend and have different abilities. So you've got one that's, or you can have both arms that kind of look like this sort of dragon pulsar gun thing. And then you can change one of the arms to be, you know, the dragon pulsar gun thing, then to a giant electrical ball thing, and then another one that's kind of like this sort of hula hoop type thing. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but that one can, like, after your arm extends, one of the hula hoop things extends a bit further to hit your enemies. And yeah, from what I remember, when I first played Min Min, I felt like it felt a bit difficult to play as Min Min, but after a while I think I got the hang of it a bit. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. So Min Min is one of those characters that I feel like would get used to after a while, and again, I feel like it gets a bit more easier as time progresses. I feel like as more as you play as Min Min. So yeah, I really enjoy Min Min, and I do enjoy some of the costumes you have for her. Like, I think one of them is like a sort of like dark red sort of colour. I think another one is a standard one, and then another, well, standard one in the game, and then another one is a, I think, pink one, I remember. I'm not 100% sure, but Min Min is an interesting character, and I do enjoy a lot of the moves, so yeah. For number 5 is Steve. Now, Steve is from Minecraft, obviously, and Steve feels like one of those characters that feels like he's been modded in, like he shouldn't be in the game, but he is. If that's how I'm trying to talk about it, because Steve has a lot of interesting moves. Like, he's got his Steve has, you know, he can mine for stuff, he can create stuff, he can create swords, he can create, you know, a lot of stuff that you might have seen in Minecraft, and yeah, it feels a bit weird because when you think of Smash Bros characters, you don't really think of Steve. You probably, when looking at the other characters in this pack, on both waves, you probably think of Joker, Sephiroth, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry, all these other characters, and Steve would probably be the last character to be in that list, and somehow he is. And I do enjoy the animation of him when he falls over, because because unlike a lot of other characters that just fall normally, Steve, he just falls down like a plank of wood, and that's quite funny. And yeah, I'll say overall Steve is one of those characters that feels like he shouldn't be in the game. I feel like he's one of those joke characters that people modded in, just so they can have, you know, just a random player or random character just having the skin, or having the Steve skin or whatever. So yeah. For number 4 is Sora. Now, Sora, I understand the hype, because a lot of people have been wanting Sora in the game for a very, very long time. And Sora, as a player in the game, is interesting because he's kind of like a glass cannon, in the sense that has a lot of powerful moves, but he also has the Kirby effect, in the sense that he is quite floaty, and any move done to Sora can be devastating. Like, if you take a character like Bowser, for instance, and Bowser does a very powerful move, Sora could go from 0% to 50 to 55, maybe 70 at best. And yeah, that's kind of how I would describe Sora. He has powerful moves, very floaty, very, very light, and any move can be very devastating. But yeah, I do enjoy a lot of the moves that he has, because he can, I think his neutral B swaps out from a fire attack, a lightning attack, and a ice attack, and then he has like a spin attack, and then a roll attack, and a down attack. And yeah, I think this character has a lot of fun moments, and I feel like once you get good with him, you can pull off a lot of really cool combos. He's basically, if Kazuya was more light and nimble, I would say. He's basically a more nimble version of Kazuya, I would say. Because Kazuya, as I said before, has a lot of good combos. You can combo any character into any move, and you can combo into that. With Sora, it feels similar. You could use a fire attack and then use a homing attack, because Sora has a homing attack as one of his moves. So yeah, you can really pull off a really cool amount of combos with Sora. For number 3 is Pyra Mythra. Now, Pyra Mythra is kind of like Banjo and Kazooie and Rosalina and Luma, but different in a sense, because you can play as both characters for Pyra Mythra, but you can swap out which characters you want to play as. So it's kind of like if you took a character like Bowser Jr. and he had one of the Koopalings behind him, as a character you can swap out as, and that's basically the whole of Pyra Mythra. Like one character you can play as, and then you can swap out for the next character during a match. So I think that's really, really cool, and I do like how Mythra is a character that you can use to deal as much damage as you can, and then swap out to Pyra to deal with the more heavy damage. So I do like it there in sense of who do you want in a particular match. Do you want Pyra to deal enough damage to finish off your opponents quickly, or do you want Mythra to try and do some setup and then bring in Pyra? So it's kind of one of those things that you might want to do in terms of, oh, I'm playing off against Bowser, might want to use Pyra. Oh, because Bowser is one of the more heavier characters and he can't be as launched as far as other characters like Kirby or Jigglypuff or Pikachu or Zoro or whatever. And for Mythra, she's more of the setup characters, oh, I can deal as much damage as I can to this particular character, and then switch out to Pyra, that kind of thing. For number 2 is Sephiroth. Now, Sephiroth, I think, has probably one more of this list because of the placement. I think has one of my more favorite characters in this game, and I think that's mainly due to his reveal. Mainly because in his reveal trailer, he beats Galeem as well as the Master or Crazy Hands in one go, and I do really like how he's announced, and I really like how as he beats Galeem, you can hear his theme song a second afterwards, and I feel like that's how you bring in a character. I feel like you have them doing something cool or awesome that's related to them, and then have a theme song, or have the theme song that people know them by play afterwards. So I think that's really cool of how Sephiroth is introduced, and I do like how after I think it was either a day or so after his reveal or something like that, that you could try and get him early, because Sakurai said, from what I remember, if we're holding a special event with Sephiroth, in which if you can beat him early, you can have we're gonna have a special event with Sephiroth before he's fully released in the game. So if you can beat him in a certain time window, you can have early access with him. So I think that's a really cool thing to do, because from what I know, you don't really see things like this where if it's a fighting game, you'll see a DLC character being brought in at a particular date, and you can't really do anything else apart from just pre-ordering. But with Sephiroth, I do like how you could have fought him and get early access to him before he was fully released, and I did manage to do it. But it was tough. It was really tough. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it saying, oh, it was so easy. I say that's like really tough, because he could just defeat you in like 5 or so hits and it'll be over. So yeah, I do really enjoy Sephiroth. I do really like his inclusion in the game, and I do like how, and I also think that he's one of those characters that a lot of people know, even if they probably haven't played or heard of Final Fantasy. They probably saw Sephiroth saying, oh, I've probably heard of him from friends or whatever, or he's from that Final Fantasy game with Cloud or something. So I do like Sephiroth because he's like one of those really well known characters that people probably would have thought would have been in the game by let's say the previous game, Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. And for number 1 is Joker. Now, Joker is probably one of my favourite DLC characters of Smash Bros. Ultimate, mainly because the Persona series is probably one of my favourite series, and Joker is the reason that I love the Persona series, because Smash Bros., as I said, is one of those games that had a lot of characters from a lot of well-known gaming series or franchises, where you've got like, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Sonic, you've got Donkey Kong, and a variety of other series, and Joker is probably the reason why I wanted to play the Persona series in the first place, because I wanted to play Persona 5 because it looked really cool, and then I managed to play Persona 5, then Royal, and then the other games, well, 4 Golden and 3 Portable, and probably 3 Reload when that comes out. And yeah, I do really enjoy Joker's stage, his moveset, and some of the costumes that he has. So some of the moves he has are from the game, Persona 5, so you've got Joker's knife, you've got his gun, his neutral B, he can summon Arsene, which he can then either counterattack, with a shield or a reflective shield, mainly reflective shield, something like that, and I think that's really enjoyable, and I do like how I do really enjoy a lot of his costumes, because a majority of his costumes are his Phantom Thief outfit from Persona 5 and Royal, and how they've changed some of the colours. Like, we've got one for one of your party mates that you get later in the game, which I won't spoil in case anyone wants to play Persona 5 Royal, which I highly suggest you play, because Persona 5 Royal is basically a better version of Persona 5. So yeah, and I do like how you can also have Joker wear his school uniform. I think these are like the final 2 costumes you can have for Joker. And yeah, and for Mementos, I do enjoy how, depending on which music you're hearing from Persona 3, 4 or 5, not only does the colour scheme changes, but also some parts of the design changes. So like, if you're playing in Mementos with music from Persona 5, it'll be all be red. If it's music from Persona 4, it'll be all yellow, and the stage will have, I think, some elements of Persona 4, like I think the whole TV world entrance thing. I think it's part of the game, or part of the Memento stage. And then if you're playing in Persona, if you've got music from Persona 3, it'll be blue, and then you'll see big clocks to represent the moments before the Dark Hour. So I think that's really cool. And then Joker is a really enjoyable character. I do enjoy playing with him. He's probably one of my favourite characters to play as in Smash Bros. Ultimate. So yeah. So there's been me ranking all of the Smash Bros. Ultimate characters, or DLC characters, from worst to best. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and see you in the next video.